So hi, today we'll be deploying a three-tier web app using AWS Cloud, and we're using multiple other services as well, such as like load balancer. We're using ingress for the Kubernetes. We have EKS, ECR, then Docker, and then followed by EC2 service. So we will be deploying three tiers like web tier, logical tier, and the database tier. So this is the architecture which I'll be deploying today. Okay, so though I have already deployed, I'm just recording this video for my future reference. In this will be deploy this application. I deployed it in like 5 phases. The first phase is in which I have like set up all the prerequisites kind of a thing. You can say I've set up EC2 machine like an IAM user and certain tools on the EC2 such as like CLI, Docker, kubectl, and EKS Like I'll show you. Uh, I'll first start with the EC2 instance. So this is the instance which I have set up. I can like show you here. So this is the instance. This instance comes with a public IP address for the, and also if I show you the security right now for my personal use, I've just opened the security group, but you can like change it. Then on this server, I have installed like various tools according to the requirement. Like I can show you all this. Like these are the Ubuntu package updates, then followed by, as I mentioned, like I've used the Snap API. I've installed AWS CLI, then I've configured it. Followed by that, I have installed, I believe, yeah, then I've installed Docker. Yes, then I have installed kubectl for interacting with the EKS cluster. Then you see I've also installed the eksctl for creating the Kubernetes cluster, the EKS cluster. And then I'll show this in the next section further. So I've also created like an IAM user for this. I believe I might have opened it somewhere. I will open it here. So in the IAM user, uh, yes. So IAM user, I have created a three-tier user. I have, for a time being, because for my personal use, I have give this user an admin access so that it can access. I've also, created a security credentials for accessing the AWS CLI. Okay, if I go back in the phase two, this is particularly based on creating the image, like images, and pushing those images to the ECR repository. So the code is available on the GitHub, like in my repository. So I've copied that code into my personal laptop. You see this application as a backend, front end, and there are some certain deployment like manifest files of Kubernetes. So if we see the front end first, we have this code is based on the Node.js, and then we have a Docker file here. In the Docker file, it features a very simple application of a to-do list, nothing. We're just using a node image, then we're just copying using this work directory, then code copying there, and then we're installing the all the dependencies. Then once it's copied, we are exposing it on the 3000, and then there's a command npm start. Same for the backend, we have just a similar Docker file, and the same thing. This is backend is running on 8080. For the code, we have a Kubernetes manifest file, which I'll cover in a later section. Now, for the ECR, we have generated like, if you just see here, Amazon ECR. Mm, like if we public, so we have created like two public repositories. Now one is for the front end, one is for the back end. If I just go into the front end one, so we have created pushed already. I've pushed an already image here. If you see the commands, I've used it for the login. This I've used it for building the image and to tag it and then to push it. So once I've pushed it, it is available as here. You see it here. This image I'll further use uh, in my EKS like files, and say the same thing I've done for the the backend as well. So I'll move forward from here. Then the third phase is the Kubernetes phase. In this, what I've done is I have like created a EKS cluster. I have like utilized EKS cluster like this command to create minimum two nodes, t2.medium nodes, minimum two. If you want to see it here, so this just do it like 3 tier. So this is the Elastic Kubernetes service. Okay, in this I have created a, so this is this cluster. It's on the version 1.29, and then we see all the requirements, all the networking. If you want to see all the subnets, it was created by the eksctl command. And I'll also show you the two nodes, like the two worker nodes. So these are the two worker nodes which was created by the eksctl. You can also get nodes. Also, like these are the two nodes which was created. Also, I have like copied the context. Yeah, copied the context from the EKS like cluster onto my this server. This is just my web server for where I have deployed all the tools so that I can use the kubectl from here. So that's why I'm just able to see these two nodes from here. So now I'll go through from each of the files. Like we have a front-end service and the back-end service. So front-end first is for the deployment. This is nothing but a deployment. In this, if you see, we are just using that image and making a pod of it. Then we are exposing it on 3000. And if you see just in the front-end deployment, this is also the container port is 3000. And it is connecting backend at 8080. And if you see the backend deployment, this is just using the same image which we pushed there on the ECR. Then it is like further connecting with the MongoDB. And same for the backend service, is port is 8080. And then if we go to the MongoDB, this service is basically the target from the port for this is, and in this we are for the deployment, you see we are using the image MongoDB Mongo version 4.4.6, and the container one is similar. And for the password, we are just getting a secret out of it. For this, now there is one more service which is like ingress, which I will cover in the next phase. So I have so this part is totally done. And just one more. So when I've created the EKS cluster, all the logging is being done on the CloudFormation. So if I just go to the stack, you see all the three stacks were like created, and this first one is for setting up the cluster. If we go inside and check the events, in this I can clearly see like what all the steps it took. I created a must private, then route table, and subnet association. A lot of things was done by this. And this I can also check like what all the things were done. And there is, I think there are no, and these are like outputs if I want to capture or something. Okay, so I think this is done. Then we'll move to the phase 4. So this is the important and the last step. In the phase 4, I have explained. So I have utilized the AWS load balancer controller. So this is nothing, just if we go back to here, we are utilizing a load balancer for exposing our web app, and further it is going to the ingress, which is basically for the internal routing of the EKS. So we have deployed this load balancer using Helm charts, uh, like install with Helm. So there's a proper documentation available on the AWS website. So for this, first created the IAM role, and then like this is the IAM policy which we have attached with the load balancer. And you create, so this is just we copied from the GitHub. Then we created an IAM policy by on the account. Then we have created a role to attach it, and then with the help of, so this is the all the Helm charts, like EKS charts we captured, and then like Helm repo. Once it's updated, we have installed the AWS load balancer controller. And once it's done, we can you can clearly see the load balancer if like EC2 the yes, in the load balancer it's this is the load balancer it basically created. This is the DNS record which is for the application, but there is one more thing like the ingress. Ingress is for the internal routing. The load LV is connected to the ingress. So if you see here, this is the ingress configuration of the manifest file. In this, it is basically listening on the port. So the request coming from the load balancer listening on port 80, and further, if you see the backend, which is though it is just available for the rules, it is not really exposed on this port because it's not like really exposed. So it is, if you see, it's on this path is slash, and it is exposing on the port 3000, which is for the front end. So the same thing can be seen in the, if you see the ingress, which is coming out of the load balancer. If I just copy this URL, I think it's already here. If I load it, the application is running. And the same thing if I like front end, it's still running because if it's go to the backend, cannot get backend. So I mean it's really not exposed. So currently it's running on port 80, but for just for the I mean for my testing purpose and for my future references. So that's why I've just recorded this video. This is like available on my GitHub as well.